for the college concert that summer term, they were short of violinists. And I played the violin, and my brother, in his usual way, just said, "Oh, she'll come and do it, that's all right." So I did, and it was great fun, and I seem to remember very often occasions at Westminster ended up with a perfectly splendid champagne party, as did this, and several of us were still chatting round the kitchen table. And Martin, when I said, Martin Rogers that is, when I said, well, you know, I don't really know what's going to happen because my school doesn't do university entrance, because it was still the point at which Oxford and Cambridge had their own exams. And he said, "Oh, well, you'd better come here then." And I took absolutely no notice. I didn't think he was serious at all. In the summer holidays, I was then taken by friends to their place in Portugal and got a frantic telegram from my father saying, "Are you going to Westminster next term?" So I sent one back saying, "Well, I don't know. Am I?" And it seemed that I was. But unfortunately, my flight back was 3 days after the beginning of term. So I made a very dramatic entrance by coming in chauffeur-driven rolls to the Gatens yard somewhere after midnight. And John Field was there to greet me and take me in and showed me where I was sleeping in the Rogers' house and said very firmly as he left, "Henry IV, Part 1, by 11 o'clock tomorrow," and put the book down on the table. So that was where it all came from.
Can you tell us a bit more about the logistics of being a girl in a boys' school and where you were sleeping, where you were working, how you fitted into the space?
I was sleeping in the Rogers' spare room upstairs, which actually connected so conveniently straight through a laundry area and into all the dormitories and boxes. I was there just as a sort of personal guest, and the logistics were wild because, of course, all my contemporaries were already in the English 7th. So they knew where they were going for lessons, they knew to whom, they knew for what. I had no idea at all, and nobody bothered to tell me. So the first morning I saw everybody was going across yard, and I thought, oh, well, perhaps I'd better go, and ended up in Abbey. Thought, well, there you go. And then after that, somebody did send a runner and say where I should be for the first lesson. And after that, of course, I knew who the other classmates were, and they were very kind and they shepherded me about for a bit. But it was a pretty steep learning curve, and then of course there was lunch. Nobody told me about that either. So again I just followed the drift and waited, and then when I went in I discovered on my first day that I was supposed to dine on the top table with college. And I had to walk right through the middle of them all, with all of them looking. That was slightly awe-inspiring. But I don't know, I think when you're young, you just take it as it comes, you get on with it, you do what you can do.